Hello, hello. Welcome
Hey,
to another
everybody.
episode, yay, of Dropping Into Happiness. We are your hosts. I am Rachel.
And I'm Maggie.
And we have kind of special clothing on today, you guys, because I don't know if you realize, but today is May the 4th.
May the 4th
be with you.
And also with you. And with your spirit. Yay!
If you're on YouTube, you can see I have my Boba Fett shirt on. Maggie's got her Chewie shirt on. I have my R2-D2.
Yes. Can I just say, Rachel, I know we did not prep this, but I have to mention, because we just brought up YouTube. I don't know if you've been getting this question in workshops, but I have. So some friends are like, hey, we found you on YouTube, but I only see some of the episodes. How can I find all the videos? So what happens, y'all, and if you're watching this is a visual. What happens when you search Dropping Into Happiness, it'll pop up and look something like this, where it has like a few of our videos, right? And you can kind of click through, and usually it'll have the most recent episode and maybe one of the episodes that's most viewed. If you click actually on our little profile picture there, Dropping Into Happiness podcast, it brings up our full channel. So then you can click through, click videos. You can watch actually from newest, or you can change it to where it's from oldest. You can like watch back from the beginning and kind of go through it that way. So I just wanted to highlight that, because I had gotten questions and I thought it might be
bringing that up.
And then if you click subscribe, then you'll see our videos come up on your YouTube account when
you'll get notified.
Yeah.
Well, also on the desktop too, same thing. If you're just on that main page, it just shows you a handful. If you click on the videos, though, yes, it'll show you the entire collection. So some kind of gets put in the folder, but they're all on there. Yeah. So because we're on episode 18, so from 1 through 18 will be on there now.
Yay!
And I'm telling you, when I was doing our planning, I was like, no way, it's going to be May the 4th. Yay! I'm just going to geek out just a little bit for you guys.
So for those that aren't watching, I have Chewie, We're Home, and Millennium Force there. What do you have on yours?
I have my husband's Boba Fett shirt, because the majority of my shirts are Harry Potter. So he has all of the Star Wars ones. But my little R2-D2, he's actually a Boppet.
I think I just called it Millennium Force, but it's Millennium Falcon.
Falcon, yeah.
I got it mixed up with the ride in Cedar Point just now in my brain. All you Star Wars fans out there are gonna be really mad at me. But yeah, we got props today, y'all. So this is a good YouTube episode for sure.
This is. I know. I want to like push his button so you can hear him, but it'll take a minute for him to stop, and that'll be annoying. But we love it. We have so many. There's actually a shelf behind me in my living room, and like the whole top half of it is Star Wars memorabilia and collectibles, and even the cookie jar in my house is this helmet. Is Boba Fett's helmet is the cookie jar in my house. So if that tells you that my family is celebrating today.
Yeah. And then Cinco de Mayo's tomorrow. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. See, great week.
Gotta love May. Yes. It's gonna be May. Okay.
Oh my god, one of my favorite memes coming out of April. Oh my gosh. And we want to thank you guys too, though, for all of the ratings and reviews. We see every single one of those, you guys. So thank you so much for all the ratings, reviews. You can do them on your Spotify, on Apple, because I know like 60% of y'all are listening on an Apple, like iTunes or Apple Podcasts. So absolutely, that helps us. That gets us served more to people who are searching for this kind of podcast. So thank you, you guys, for all the ratings and reviews. So today's episode actually is a little interesting, because I think some people recognized, when Maggie and I have told you guys in the very beginning when we started this wellness journey, that I started in January 2020. So that was almost 3 months before the pandemic. When did you start? Like just a few weeks?
February 10th, 2020.
Yeah. So we started.
I just had a few weeks before we shut down.
Yes, right before the shutdown of the world, basically. And both of us were still able to lose 100 pounds during that time. And I've had so many people ask, how did you do that? So we're going to address a couple of those things today on maybe what helped us get through the pandemic, and maybe some of the tricks and things that we did during a pandemic. Because, it's funny, because I feel like I said, when I first started, I was in a business. I was at work. I worked at I was in the office of the radio station I still currently work at. And I was there, and I would prep my breakfasts and my lunches. I knew exactly what I was having so that I wouldn't go to the vending machine. I had such a great kind of layout game plan. And then they were like, oh, just go home. And I was like, you mean right next to the refrigerator where all of the food is? And that was weird, right? Like going from a very structured day food wise to being able to have access to all of my food. So that was weird for me. What was something that you think was kind of a big adjustment for you?
Well, in a lot of ways, the pandemic forced me to focus in on myself and my health and my wellness. And I think one thing that did benefit me about being at home, because I at the time was a full-time teacher, and one of my big challenges was going through the drive-through. Like I would go through the drive-through in the morning on the way to work. I would go through the drive-through sometimes on my planning break, and sometimes on the way home on a really stressful day when I needed like comfort. And that was a routine that I had been in for a while, and that's really what was a big driving force in my need to join WW and kind of get a hold of some of those habits. So now I was at home and people weren't going out to eat as much, and it was very like you needed to kind of stay isolated and stay safe. So it took me out of that constant drive-through habit. So in that way, it really helped me.
Yeah.
And then I had to really get honest with, okay, what foods were important to me, how could I make them at home, and then seeing how I could make them lower point. So I think that actually benefited me in a way, but I think one thing that I was challenged with is I'm a very social person. I like being around people, and so that was hard to not see my students face to face, to not see my colleagues, to not see friends. Disney World was shut down. I was like,
no,
there's no magic. I mean, so that was challenging, but I just took that as a sign of like, okay, well, you've always wanted to put yourself first. This is your moment. So just try to make the best of it.
I know. I like I said, I was able to work from home, but I have two teenagers also. And I remember they were on spring break when the schools decided to be locked down.
Yeah.
So they never got to go back.
Too.
Yeah. They never got to go back after spring break. And that was their 8th grade year of junior high. And they never got to go back. They didn't really get to say bye to friends, maybe friends that went to another school. And I feel like that was really heartbreaking. And even their first year of high school, they did not get to be on campus. They did it entirely remotely, but that meant mama was working from home, also, tutor, teacher, making sure they're going to classes and not sleeping and you getting all the homework done, and let's work on this and let's make sure we're doing this. And what do you guys want for lunch? And on top of that, my husband was essential. So he still had to go to work. And especially during this time when it was very, very unknown about the safety, that's what I think freaked me out the most about the pandemic was the unknown. About we don't really know how this is going to end.
Things were changing. So information was changing so much. And it was like, I don't even know what to believe half the time. I was like, wait, what? So there was a lot of uncertainty during that time.
I was scared every day. So I was scared. I had to be a teacher. I had to work from home. And then suddenly I was thrust 10 feet from my kitchen. And it only took me, I feel like, about a week to adjust. I basically had to tell myself, okay, just because you don't have a schedule now doesn't mean you don't have a schedule now, right? I still had to get up and do my work because I was still working, but I got to work from home. And then also with the kids, okay, they have lunch at this time, so let's make sure we have lunch at this time. And I kind of still packed my lunch. So that was something I still did, even being at home, even though it wasn't like in a lunch pail. Like it was like, this is my lunch for tomorrow, or this is my lunch for later today. And I had to do that because if not, it was just kind of not haphazard, but you know what I mean? It was very willy-nilly, and I needed to have that structure. But one of the things that I've said that really, really, really got me through this pandemic, I honestly, I truly feel like WW and having the app and being able to track our meals and our points and our activity, it saved my sanity. Like I said, because I was so, I I can even remember the feeling of the anxiety. It was very on edge every day. I felt anxiety and anxious constantly with my husband being out and about and not knowing how that was going to work. And then with the kids being home and all of these extra responsibilities. But tracking my food gave me a sense of control.
Yes.
I was like, I can control what I eat. I can control, for WW Talk, we have points with our food. I can control how many points I'm taking in. And that tracking every day and seeing, yes, I did that. I have control of this one thing in my life right now. And I didn't even do that intentionally, I don't think, but it just was something that happened, and that was so helpful and beneficial to me. So I don't know if you had that feeling too.
I definitely resonate with that. We shut down in March. I was trying to teach from home for the first time ever, music, which was not something that was easily transferred to online learning. And then within a couple of months, my mom was hospitalized 600 miles away from me for heart failure. We almost lost her, and I lost my job. They did not renew the contract for full time. They renewed it for part time, and this was at the height of pandemic where I was like, I need healthcare. I need benefits. Like, I don't know. So what I was going to do. So then I started interviewing for jobs and trying to figure out what my next big step was. So that, a lot of the times I'm like, how did I get through all that? And it was the autopilot of just being able to think, what can I focus on? What can I control? And what can I do for myself during this time? And it was tracking, and it was activity. I was already an active person, but I really was like, I was doing yoga every day. I was going on walks with Bristol every single day. I was going on runs most days. I was doing Another thing that really saved me was the virtual worlds. First of all, I was a WW workshop member from the very beginning, and there was a week where they had no workshops because everything was shut down. They were trying to figure out what they were going to do.
Yeah.
And that was before I was employed with WW, so I have no idea what that back end scenario looked like. I can only imagine. But it was within a week that they had a local virtual workshops. And so I immediately hopped on to my normal virtual workshop, my Mondays at 5:00 with Coach D. And then I made some friends on Instagram. I had been sharing my journey on Instagram, and a lot of more people, I think, were really on social media because that was the way to be connected. So I was making friends all across the country, and come to my local virtual in Michigan, and come to my local virtual in New Jersey. And so I kind of started like workshop hopping before it was even a thing,
Funny. I didn't know that.
Yeah. And so then I had like these little communities and like friends and things I was doing. And then through that, my friend said, I have a gym where all of our classes are online, and it's very, cheap. I think it was like $15 for unlimited virtual classes. So then I was doing like strength training every day on my screened-in porch, and I turned it into, I called it my yoga studio. Like we put like a rug down, and I had plants, and it was screened in so Bristol could get out there with me, and like that became my little sanctuary. And it was just kind of like, how can I just invest in myself and in my peace during all of this turbulence that's happening around me? And I'm really proud of us, Rachel.
I know.
I'm really proud of us. Yeah. And then on the flip, I think for me, it's been harder. Once things started opening up, because I live in Florida, and things started opening up for us like about a year later, where it was like, a little bit later, everyone was different, but I was already back.
I was trying to think of when we started to open up.
I was back in school teaching in person and virtual hybrid by August of 2020. So it was not, and we were fully masked and socially distancing and all of this stuff. But then once the vaccine came through, things started opening up pretty quickly. And I, was vaccinated, and I felt, I was wearing masks, and I felt comfortable to go out and do things. So then, it made it harder. Now it's like, oh, we're eating out, we're going on trips, we're going to theme parks, we're doing this. And I'm like, oh, so it's very interesting. I feel like different people, some of us handled it where the pandemic was a time where we could really hone in on our health. And then for others, like we had to focus on other things to survive. And the health wasn't the primary focus. So I often think like, how would my journey have been different if this wouldn't have happened? Like, would I have been as successful? And
I haven't even thought about that.
It's kind of crazy. Yeah,
I really
I've
don't
only
know.
yeah, I've only thought about it because I've had like members ask me, like, do you think things would have gone differently for you? And I'm like, I mean, probably. I don't know. I
Yeah.
mean, because it was really, I think, like with The Biggest Loser, you've talked about The Biggest
Mm-hmm.
Loser on podcasts before. Um, my mom and I used to always, because my mom and I have both struggled with weight loss journeys and things like that. And she said, like, I think for the amount of weight we envision ourselves losing, it has to be like a full-time job.
Yeah.
And, like you have to put a lot of time and effort into the mindset, into the food, into the planning, and so it can definitely feel like it has to be a full-time job. It doesn't, but it can feel that way. And so when we went and shut down and I was, and then went into summer break, it really became my full-time job was like taking care of myself and being
Yeah.
healthy. And then that really kind of laid the framework for a lot of habits that I was then able to maintain as we opened up. Um, but yeah, it was a crazy time. And it was only 2 years ago.
I know. No, just yesterday I was talking in a WW workshop and I was saying how I'm a morning worker outer. Like I like to work out 6 a.m. in the morning. And she was like, oh my gosh, I can't do that. And I was like, you know what? Like that was not always the case. Like that habit genuinely started during lockdown, which I think is like not normal for a lot of people. And it started not as early. So I started, like I said, I was at home, I was working from home, the kids were doing school from home. So I would get up, I'd make everybody eat breakfast, whatnot. They would get into classes. And so about 8:30, I don't remember, that's when I would work out. And I would do it in my living room because the gym I had just signed up for closed.
Yeah.
So I think I've mentioned the Fitness Marshal on here before. I adore his YouTube channel. Him and I became very good friends during this time, but I would do my dances with the Fitness Marshal. And there was another actually really good one I'm going to recommend, Fitness Blender on YouTube. Fitness Blender has really, really good strength training ones. And I was doing that very, very consistently to the point now where, I would just do it a little bit earlier and then a little bit earlier until it got to that point where I'm like Monday morning, I don't even really need my alarm to go off because my body knows, hey, we're getting up and we're going to go work out. It's just become such a wonderful habit. And that was something I built during lockdown. And I just noticed though, I was just telling you actually that, I kind of got away from strength training as often as I used to. And honestly, for my mental health, I need to get back to it. So I was doing it on Mondays and Wednesdays, but I really need to get back to either doing it on Friday or one of the days on the weekend. So that's actually, I'll bring that back up again later. But when we talk about
I'm with you too. I'm with you too because last episode I mentioned that I wanted to step on my yoga mat one day that week. And part of that was because during the pandemic, I discovered yoga with Adriene, which is kind of like the Fitness Marshal. She's on YouTube, and she does every year she does 30-day yoga challenge in January on YouTube, and it's totally free. And I really highly recommend it for beginners at all fitness levels. She's amazing, and she shows modifications, and she's just like, I'm totally fangirling. But she has like years and years and years of material. Plus she does like one-offs, like yoga for runners, yoga for feet, like all kinds of stuff. Yeah. And so I did like, I think 60 days of yoga straight. I did 2 of her 30-day programs like back to back. And then things started opening up. I moved, like I didn't have my yoga studio anymore, air quotes, like things like that. And I got out of the routine. I'm like, dang, I really loved it. I not only for my mindset, but just like my flexibility, my mobility, and it's so good. It's, it's good for other things that I do in life. And so I'm like, dang, I want to go back to the time where I had hours and hours to like, I would have been a jump rope girl by now for sure.
Mine is hanging by the door. And I was like, because I honestly, so for those that don't know, Maggie and I, actually, this is all Maggie's fault. She had decided one time that she wanted to be a jump rope girl. So I was like, all right. So I ordered me one and her one. And remember, I'm in California and she's in Florida. And we decided we were going to be jump rope girls. And we started to, but like, then it got to winter and it started raining and I could only do it outside. And I don't really have like, so I was like, I just kind of got out of it. And I was thinking that yesterday, I need to get back to my jump roping. I do.
Because it's just fun. A routine. A lot of these things are building routines. And I think while we were locked down, we just took the opportunity to like build new routines and have new focuses where when you are so busy and you have a lot on your plate and there's a lot going on and a lot of things just coming up, it is hard to build those routines, but it is possible. And I think what we can take away from Rachel and I's story is that we just focused on what we could control, and that could be a helpful tool, pandemic or not. Because like aside from a global pandemic, life gets wild. Like just you go through things come up, the day-to-day stress, the big life stress. So what can I control? Well, I can control what I'm tracking. I can control how I'm moving. I can control hopping onto a workshop or reaching out to a friend or going on Connect. Like, we just have options. I think that's what I learned through the pandemic.
And one thing I want to point out too, real quick, all of these YouTube channels that we're telling you guys that we've been to, I'll put the links in the show notes. So you guys, if you're like, what was that again? I'll put them in there. And maybe even on our Instagram a couple of times. Cause like, I know I follow Fitness Marshall on Instagram, so I can even tag them on there too. Cause they also do challenges and it's just kind of fun to find. And like, that's what I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed the Fitness Marshall. It gave me that, it releases those endorphins and serotonin. And just recently, I really need to write the little sciencey word down, but I had listened to a podcast of Dr. Sanjay Gupta, and he was talking about how not only when we exercise and get an activity, it's not only strengthening our bones and our heart and our lungs and, our metabolism, it's literally releasing something in your brain that helps you stay focused and be sharper and, problem solving. It's so much more than just your physical. Like it genuinely scientifically proven to help your brain function. And I'm telling you, I need to write down the sciencey word because I said that yesterday and someone was like, serotonin, dopamine. I was like, nope, those are things that make you happy. It's not happy. It's different. It's like, it's like brain functionality that it really assists you with. So there's so many benefits to it, but right. Like I said, it was funny. It was really weird when they were like, oh, no, you can't. Like, I kid you not, when they asked us to go home from the radio station, they changed the locks that day because we were not allowed to go back in the building. They told us that. They changed the locks. And then, but then when we started to go back, then that was weird. Because it was like a year later and we'd gotten so used to working from home. It was very awkward now to go back. It was, but finding that balance and like you said, focusing on what you can control, I think is like the optimum takeaway from this is focusing no matter what your situation is right now. Maybe you're hybrid, maybe you're still working from home because let's face it, we are still in the depths of a pandemic. I feel like it's getting better. Things are starting to come back to a normal. But no matter that can be used, I feel like during any kind of, challenge that seems very out of our control, just to focus on that.
And I think, last episode we were talking about hurdles and reframing things. I think no matter how we all handled the pandemic, whether you lost weight, gained weight, maintained your weight, didn't even think about your weight, whatever the case may be, you got through it. You're continuing to get through it. Like you did whatever you needed to do to get through it. And that's a celebration. And I think now more than ever, we can be encouraged to have an extra value on our health.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, because it's just such a precious thing and it's so fleeting. Amen.
I know. Oh, my goodness. I know. Just like little ones here and there. He's under a blanket. I don't even know what he's growling or barking.
He sounds like he's taunting you. Like,
I know. Just being a little butthead. Oh, my goodness.
I love him.
I know. Okay, friends. Well, we do have a quote today. So, Maggie, you have our quote, don't you?
I do have our quote, and this is a quote that I got from going in studio. I honestly cannot remember if I mentioned this in the podcast, but one thing I've done is I've gotten rid of my bathroom scale. I have no idea where it is.
No.
Yeah. Have I not mentioned that? I guess it just hasn't come up. So this is like a bonus. This has nothing to do with our conversation today, but I got rid of my bathroom scale. It still exists, but I don't know where it is in our home. I had Seth hide it from me because I was in a situation where I was getting on it every single day.
Yeah.
but then multiple times a day. Like, it became a habit where almost every time I was going in the bathroom, I was stepping on the scale. And for what? I don't know. So I was like, this, last week I mentioned I want to be someone who identifies as a healthy person. I was like, a healthy person would not do this. So as I digress, I now only go in to weigh once a week in studio on Wednesday mornings. And I'm like, that's the routine. We're sticking to it. So I went in studio yesterday for my workshop, and the quote that was shared with us is by T.J. Taylor, and it is Rewind the tape. Okay. T.J. Taylor says success may require many steps, but progress only requires one.
Oh, I like that.
So I just asked myself, what's my one step gonna be today?
Right, just taking that one step, no matter how overwhelming something may seem, just taking that one step, I think is such a wonderful concept. Slowing it down, not thinking about everything. I like it.
It's not a race.
It's not, right?
So do you want to start us off with the star goal and recommendation for the week, Rachel?
I will. And like I said, I'm going to bring it back up because I mentioned this already. I was really doing very good with strength training 3 times a week previously. And like something last summer, I don't know if it was because it was hot or maybe because the kids, you know what? I think it was when the kids went back to in school. My whole schedule changed. Everything changed. We started going back into the office last October, and the kids had started back in school. And so my schedule changed. And I can get to the gym on Monday mornings because my kids have late start. And then on Wednesday nights, I was getting to the gym to do some strength training. But then that was it. So I wanted to get back to 3 times a week. So I put it on my calendar. I have it laid out. And gas in Southern California is ridiculous. So I'm not going to go to the gym. I said I don't have the time really either to drive there and drive back. So I'm doing it at home like I used to do. But that's actually going to roll into my recommendation. So my recommendation, if anybody knows what Five Below is, it's an awesome store. It's kind of like a Dollar Tree or 99-cent store, but it's like $5 is about the cap. And there's so much fun exercise equipment there, like fun stuff that keeps it interesting. So for those of you who are on YouTube, I'm going to show you, but I will describe them. So I have these exercise dice, and it's so fun. So like there's one dice and it says like 20 reps, 30 seconds, 90 seconds, 10 reps. And so it's all the way around the sides. And then you can either do it with 2 of them, 2 other ones that have like the exercises on it, or just one if you want to do one at a time. Push-ups, burpees, squats, crunches, knee highs, heel touches, bench dips, like so many, and you can really shake things up, have fun with it. And these were, I think, either 5 or less than 5. And I have some other equipment too that I got from there. I mean, even if you don't have a Five Below, Walmart, go to a thrift store, like whatever you need to do. Find some fun stuff to have at your house. So maybe you can't get to the gym. Maybe you don't have an hour, but you have 15 to 20 minutes. So that was my mindset too for a while. Like, oh, I don't have an hour. Well, I don't have to have an hour. I can do 20 to 30 minutes and still close my Apple Watch ring. So that's my star goal as well as my recommendation. So what about you, Maggie? What's yours this week?
My star goal is a continuation of last week. I would like to get on my yoga mat 2 times. This week. And my recommendation, I have props. Really one that I just thought of, which is mildly relevant if you are still working from home or in a hybrid situation and you have to be at a desk. Consider a standing desk. I
saw your desk go up while you were talking.
I literally got up in the middle of work or in the middle of recording this podcast because I was tired of sitting.
I know I saw it go. I was very jealous.
Like, I hope you can't hear it. I got mine online at Costco. Well, I should say my mom got it for me. It was a Christmas present. But she got it from Costco and it was shipped here. But there's a lot of different standing desks out there with a lot of different price budgets and all those types of things. I would just definitely recommend, if you're someone that still works at home, if you have not invested in a standing desk yet, 10 out of 10. But what I really was going to recommend for today was a foam roller, and I have a prop here. Yoga is obviously something that's been on my heart and mind, but also foam rolling, because I do run a lot, but I think this is great for anyone, no matter what your activity level. It can be a great way to start your day. It can be a great way to end your day. It can be great for after activity. It just helps break down the muscle fibers that might be tense after a workout, if you're experiencing any kind of soreness or tightness in any way. And what I do is I just go to the good old-fashioned YouTube and search foam rolling workout, or foam rolling for hamstrings, or foam rolling for neck or lower back, or
love that
quads.
YouTube.
I know, it's like Google but better. I know. But it's really awesome, and you can get them in so many different places. They might even have them at Five Below.
They
I don't
do.
know, but
I've seen them.
yeah,
They have them at
might
Five Below.
go there.
Yeah.
You know what I should do for the Instagram is, because I've never been to Five Below, but we have one, so I should do a reel where I go to Five Below for the first time and see
that
what
would be
random
fun.
things. That'd be really cute. So anyway, foam roller or another prop, a massage roller is what Rachel and I have decided this is called. And again, you're gonna have to watch YouTube to see what I'm talking about. It's like a rod with little knobs on it, and you can just roll it over different parts of your body. You can roll it on your back, your neck, your legs.
Oh yeah.
And again, it just helps break down the muscle fibers so that they're not so tight. And
one of the other things, because I'm a very visual person, so one of the things a foam roller does is I'm not gonna lie, it kind of hurts, but what you're doing is you're literally steamrolling your muscles and pushing out all of the blood, so fresh oxygenated blood can come in, and it helps your muscles heal faster. But I'm super glad we have two in my house, because my teenagers actually really like it. My son is in ROTC and he does bowling, and so like his arms or his back can get kind of sore, and I usually, if I can't find it, it's in his room. And my daughter does softball, and so she likes to use it on her legs and sometimes her shoulders, and my husband has a weird back, and so every person in my family foam rolls. Yeah, we like the foam roller.
So it's definitely something I want to get into the habit of doing, but I'm trying not to overload myself with goals right now. So I'm like, just focus on yoga, and if you foam roll, great, but I have been doing that a lot this week, and
but it's like a perk, right? You're like, cool, like that was in there too, even though that wasn't my goal. So that's always kind of nice.
It's the sprinkles. It is the sprinkles. So, yay. Well, thanks so much, y'all, for hanging out with us.
Yeah, thanks for dropping by.
We hope you have a magical rest of your day.
Bye.